Safe House, what's going on, family? It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been at least 2 weeks since I went on my fast. And, I'm going to be honest with you, very transparent. I'm not 100% mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But one thing that I've learned throughout this fast is this, that you cannot deny God's will. You cannot deny God's will, and you can never prevent God's will from happening in your life. So with that being said, today I want to be able to talk to you about how God has placed you in a position of exodus out of your place of slavery. Yes, God has placed you in a position of exodus out of your place of slavery. What does exodus mean? Departure. Right now, you are leaving out of stressful situations. You are leaving out of hostile environments. You are coming out of environments that has held you captive for so many years of your life. And I want to be able to detail that more by giving you the story of the Israelites and the Egyptians. And I'm gonna be talking through scripture from Exodus chapter 13, verse 3, and also Exodus chapter 13, verse 17 through 18. And what it says in Exodus chapter 13, verse 3, it says this: So Moses said to the people, "This is the day to remember forever, the day you left Egypt, the place of your slavery." And so to pretty much understand what a place of slavery is, you have to know what slavery means, right? So a place of slavery is a place where you have been held captive against your will, either by someone else or either by your own doing. And I know that in today's day and age, our place of slavery is much different from what the Israelites suffered during their 430 years of being enslaved in Egypt. They faced a lot of cruel and brutal moments, a lot of hardships. But today, we're in a place of slavery today that is quite different from then. Because the place of slavery that we're in right now is social media, dysfunctional friendship, unhealthy family dynamics, toxic attachments to people and things that are deviating and distracting us and pulling us away from building our relationship with God. This is our place of slavery right now. And all of these things right now are contributing factors that prevent you from experiencing the true freedom that God has for you in your life. Because in the same way that he heard the cries of the Israelites, is the same way that God is hearing your cries right now. God is hearing all of those painful moments and seeing all of those painful moments that you have been going through for so many years of your life. Moments in your life where you thought you were never going to come out of. But today is the day that God is bringing you into a position of exodus. He's bringing you out of those places of slavery. He's bringing you out of those unhealthy relationships, those dysfunctional family dynamics, those toxic attachments to things and to people that prevent you from building a closer relationship to God. He's bringing you out of that. This is your season of departure. This is your season of exodus right now. This is your season in the same way that he brought the Israelites out of their situation in life. Is the same way that he's going to bring you out of those moments of hardships that you have been going through for so many years of your life. And it leads me into my first point. And I want you to be able to write this down. We are all slaves to something at a particular point in our lives. But we remain in that place of slavery because of our denial of what is controlling us. See, when we fail to realize what has been controlling us for so many years of our lives, we prevent ourselves from truly coming out of that slavery. See, God can want to bring us out all we want to, but if we're not recognizing that we're in a place of captivity, it's going to be hard for us to come out of those situations 100%. See, the Israelites, they knew that what they were going through was not right. They knew that they were in hostile territory. See, a lot of us don't recognize that we're in hostile moments within our lives. A lot of us don't realize that we're in places of captivity. We're in places of slavery right now that is secretly killing us. And those places of slavery may be disguised as a pretty face. It may be disguised as a nice voice. It may be disguised as a beautiful paycheck. But you don't realize that you're in a place of slavery because you don't recognize what is controlling you. And as scripture tells you, you're a slave to whatever controls you. So if you don't recognize what has if you don't recognize what has such a strong hold over you, you're going to always remain in that place of slavery. I'm going to give you an example. Just me being in relationships, I used to always have unhealthy attachments to people. And this is no disrespect to anybody that I've ever been with in my life. No, I just used to have unhealthy attachments to people, which prevented me from moving on from them in the way that God needed me to. So even though I'm trying to move into a new relationship, or I'm trying to move into a place of singleness, it was hard for me to do that because I have this strong attachment to what God is trying to bring me out of. And he may not be trying to bring me out of it because of what this person may be doing. I may be the issue. You understand? We always have to recognize when we're the issue or when somebody else is the issue. And so for me, I had to get to a place of saying, you know what, God, please free me from this. How can I get closure to move on from this? How can I break this attachment that I have in this particular area of my life with this particular person that I've been with? And that eventually became a place of slavery for me because I was held captive in that by my own doing. It wasn't because the person didn't want to let me go. No, it was because of my own doing. Sometimes we put ourselves in positions of slavery because we don't want to let go, or we don't want to recognize what is holding, what secretly has this strong hold on us. And we have to learn to recognize that we deserve to be free from things like that. That we don't have to be tied to these unhealthy attachments. That we don't have to be held captive, just because we're paid this much at the job. Yeah, this job may pay you this much, but your stress level and your worry level is costing you your life. And so what I want you to realize is this second point. God has already determined that this is your place from exodus from that. God has already determined, hey, I'm about to bring you out of this situation. Yeah, you may like the money at this job, but I see how stressed you are. I hear your prayers every single night. I hear how much you sit there and say, God, I just don't like this job. I'm stressing. I just don't like this relationship. This person has been doing this. They've been cheating on me. They've been talking to me. God has heard your prayers. So right now, he has already determined that this is your place of exodus from that. This is your awakening and redefining moment into the promised land that God has for you. No, the Israelites was not the only people that has a promised land that was given to them. All of us have a promised land. You want to know what that promised land is? Peace. A peace of mind from everything that has been stressing you out for so many years of your life. Your promised land is happiness, pure happiness. Not happiness that you just you use it as a disguise just to get through the day. No, this is pure happiness that comes from God that he's placed inside of you so that you can truly experience free from all of the stress and the worry that you've been going through throughout your life. God is trying to take you to the promised land that he has for you. Your promised land may be a better relationship, a more healthier relationship. It may be a more healthier friendship. It may be a more a peaceful work environment for you. They may pay less, but it's more peace on you. You're able to get through the day with a genuine smile on your face and purity within your heart. God is doing that for you. But in order to get to that promised land, that God has for you, you have to go through a process and a place that I love talking about. And I made a complete video about this. And it's a place of wilderness. Because once God freed the Israelites from Egypt, he took them through a place of wilderness. And I want to begin to read that for you from Exodus chapter 13, verse 17 through 18. It said, when Pharaoh finally let the people go, God did not lead them along the main road that runs through the Philistine territory. Even though that was the shortest route to the promised land, God said if the people are faced with a battle, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful right now, right? Because in my previous video, I spoke about the wilderness and I said there are two different ways that a person can, I believe there's two different ways that a person can end up in the wilderness. I said either because of preparation or either because of punishment. But when reading this, it also showed me that God will place you in a season of wilderness because of protection. Protection from what he's bringing you out of. See, God already knew that if I take them this route right here, even though it is the shortest route, if they're faced with opposition, it may signal something in their mind to turn back to what I just brought them out of. And so God will place you in a season of wilderness to protect you from what he's trying to bring you out of. And see, God led them through the wilderness to the Red Sea. And what happened in that very moment? The Israelites were able to cross the Red Sea. And when Pharaoh and the Egyptians tried to cross the Red Sea, God closed the waters on them. God will destroy what he knows you will be comfortable to go back to. I don't think y'all heard me. God will destroy what you feel comfortable to go back to, especially after he's just brought you out of that. Because he knew that in the Israelites' mind, they were still in a place of slavery. See, you could be physically free, but be mentally enslaved. You can be physically free and emotionally imprisoned. And we've seen that a lot in the beginning portions of Exodus, how every time the Israelites ran into a moment of hardship, they were so quick. Why didn't you just leave us? Why don't we just stay in Egypt? There's many graves in Egypt. We had all of this in Egypt. This, that, and the third. Even though they was facing hardship, they sitting there saying, we should have just stayed in Egypt. Why would you want to stay into a place that has held you captive for over 430 years? Why would you want to stay in a place that was so brutal and cruel to you? Why would you want to stay in a place like that? Because you're still mentally, spiritually, and emotionally imprisoned in the place that God has physically brought you out of. And that is one of the biggest issues that we're facing right now. See, God is putting us in a place of protection as he takes us through the wilderness. Because sometimes God will place us, and I want you to hear this, sometimes God will place us in the wilderness as a form of protection. But not just protection from other people, but protection from what we might allow ourselves to go back to, as I said, to protect us from things and places we are not ready to face. See, God knew that they wasn't ready to face, tough battles like that. God knows you better than yourself. He knows what you're capable of handling, and he knows what you're not capable of handling. He knows what will trigger you. He knows what would make you run back to what he's just brought you out of. So in order to prevent you from running back from that, he's going to completely sever the ties between you and that place, you and that person, you and that thing. Because that place that he's bringing you out of has been killing you. That place of addiction, whether if it's addiction, being addicted to drugs, pornography, sex, that place of depression, that place of anxiety, all of these are places of slavery, and God is trying to bring you from that. But in order to truly rescue you from that, he has to take you through a place of wilderness to be able to protect you, not just from other people, but also protect you from yourself. You gotta protect you from yourself. Because God doesn't just want you to be physically free. He wants you to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually free. He doesn't want you to question anything that he's doing in your life. He wants you to be able to embrace what he is trying to do. But all you have to do is trust him. Trust him. Don't have yourself in a place of wilderness longer than what God intended you to be there. God may say, hey, I only need you to be in here for this particular season. Next thing you know, 10 seasons has passed. Because you chose to be disobedient to what God is trying to do. He's bringing you to a place of exodus out of your place of slavery. He's bringing you out of what has held you captive for so many years in your life. This is your season of freedom. This is your season of freedom. This is your season to let go. This is your season to truly embrace what God is trying to do in your life and where he's trying to take you in your life. But you have to let go. You have to let go. He doesn't want you to be captive anymore. Because if you're going to be a slave to anything, you're going to be a slave to God. That's what you need to be a slave to. Because being a slave to God will bring you way more blessings than anything on this life. It will bring you way more peace. It will bring you way more happiness. This is your season of Exodus. I need you to embrace it. I need you to embrace it fully. Because God is about to do amazing things in your life right now. I don't know if you know it, but I want to prophesy over you right now that God is about to do amazing things in your life. But I want you to understand this, that every day is not going to be easy while getting there. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be bruises. There's going to be difficulty. There's going to be obstacles that stand in your way. But God has amazing things for you. He takes you through those things to help you steward over what he's about to give you. Because when he brings you to that moment, when he brings you to that place of promise, you will be able to steward over it in the way that God needs you to. So embrace what God is doing. Understand how he's doing these things so that you will be able to help others come out of their place of slavery as well. I love y'all. Safe house.